Hey everybody, this is Francesco Abbruzzino with the Rogue Rant. And today I want to talk about debt, drowning in debt, like the screen says up there. More than 1/3 of all Americans can't pay down their debt. And I don't know about you, but this is quite the alarming, quite the shocking number. 35% of people in this country have debt in collections. Think about that. When a debt is in collections, that means it's over 180 days past due. And this is supposedly happening during the economic recovery that mainstream media keeps telling us about. 35%. That's a huge nugget out there. If you look at cities like Detroit, my old hometown where I was born, 66% of the residents are in debt collection. That's astronomical. And this is, in the immediate aftermath of the last financial crisis, many people started getting themselves out of debt, started paying off those bills. But that was a good thing. But what's happened is the trend has ended. It's completely reversed itself. And this has happened over the last few years. And now credit card balances are out of pace. And they're out of pace at an alarming rate. Why is that? Why are we drowning in credit card debt? Someone will say, and they'll look at our kids. A lot of these kids, they weren't taught how to read credit cards, how credit cards work in school, in college. They go out into the real world and they discover that the joy of instantly getting some type of, whatever you want, some type of benefit just by pulling out your credit card, it doesn't work that way. They didn't understand how painful it would be to have to someday go and pay that money back, or that money was even due back. If you have credit card balances that are out of control, like most Americans do, they can keep you awake at night. They worry, the fear that comes from it. It's like a cancer just eating you inside and out. When in deep debt, it's exceedingly difficult, folks, exceedingly difficult to build up any wealth. This is one of the primary reasons why 69%, think about it, 69% of all Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. Think about that number. More than 2/3 of the country is living paycheck to paycheck. And that, my friends, is a recipe for disaster. Especially if an economic downturn strikes, like the leaders are saying with this HSBC bank issue. We are truly a buy now, or pay later society. One of the wealthiest countries in the world, one of the most prosperous nations in the entire planet. Our previous generations handed us the keys of success. They said, there you go out and make the best of it. But that wasn't good enough for us. We always had to have more. And now we've accumulated so much debt in our society, more than the history of this globe. And it's inevitable that this giant debt bubble is going to burst. And anybody with an ounce of common sense can see that. Going back, if you look back at what we experienced in 2008, that was just a preview of the hard times that may come. When we get this next recession, many of the experts are out there, many of the economists are saying what will happen will be tenfold worse than in 2008. But sadly, most of the country continues to act as though they're living in pre-2008. This economic wake-up call is coming, folks, and it's incredible. It's going to be incredibly painful for those of you that thought you could get away with being exceedingly reckless financially. This has been Francesco Abbruzzino with the Rogue